Looks like it's working. Good.
Breathe. I will unfold a smile for strangers, weak enough to comfort those I leave behind. Masked and green-ground psychopomps will attend my final ceremony. Ignore the cacophony of the flat-lined EKG. Voices of the doctors and technicians will fade. Brush assistants away as I enter my final meditation. Ignore the sterile lights and the burn of the needles. Then will come the unraveling, the dizziness, spinning, roaring, falling. Remember that last dry breath of oxygen. Remember, last breath. Exhale. Let's cross the river here, you say, but you stumble on the cobbles. And your balance lost, you roll back and sit in the water. You laugh as the current lifts you. Reaching for my hand, your motion is caught by a dragonfly landing on your wrist. You blow on it. Stubbornly, it trims its wings to your breath, and it will not leave until you throw it into flight. You splash me, I catch you. Then, in a slow eternity of motion, our lips touch. Exhale. Now, sunlight scattered through the icicles. First memories these. How young was I, wobbling on soft bone legs? I tried to clutch them through the winter glass. Light will be my special toy to play with until the sun thaws and breaks their needles and crystals skitter on the porch. I cannot reach them through the window. The voices of my parents sound further down the corridor each day. Will I laugh or cry? I'm not quite sure. Exhale. And to the student who dissects my corpse, what will you find with your scalpel that's sharpened like an angel's wing? Please search for my lost memories, hidden in the folds and stitchings of dead nerves. But will your hands tremble as you cut and probe? Will you pause before that first incision in my brain? As you gag on fumes of sour sweet formaldehyde, night-blooming flowers of the dead, the scent of asphodel is painful to the living. Take a deep breath. Don't cough. Exhale. The end of all and everything. I dreamed of the end and all of everything. Not a violent Armageddon. Instead, it was a movie scrolling through the credits, projected on the Milky Way. Pictures of every animal that had ever lived. A trillion names The entire cast and crew scrolled by, and each name in red-shifted acceleration fell away. And the narrator, who had the voice of my fourth grade teacher, Mrs. White, thanked us all and everyone for our participation. Money and Life on Castle Peak Road, Hong Kong, 1997. A restless wind blows in from Lantau Island, full with the warm scent of approaching rain. Streaks of foam torn from the churn of waves chase the skipping air across the bay. The wind crests Castle Peak Road. It flails the plastic canvas of the market stalls. Vendors rush to fold billowing tarps that flap like mad sails and scatter their wares. An old woman peers at me from her stall with cloudy-eyed calculation. She hopes I will be her lucky last customer before the storm front scuds across the bay. Elder sister, the typhoon comes. I speak to her in badly toned Cantonese. She brushes me away in annoyance and belatedly begins to pack. She scolds her husband for his laziness, then turns to me and says, "Mo ching, mo meng." No money, no life. Dismissing me, she spits the phlegm of ill fortune, carried away by the wind. People quick march back to So Quan Wat village, past the ship container yard, past the empty steel city that hums and rattles in anticipation of the storm. While Two Moon's apartment towers flicker, with the blue ghost lights of television, the people from the sea, the Haklo and Tonka, crowd their scows behind the sea walls. Rain batters the taxi's windshield. The driver squints through the downpour. In the cab, the air is humid, still, and close. Our breath fogs the nicotine film on the glass. Torn umbrellas, storm-blooming lotus flowers clog the gutter drains. I see the old couple pushing their cart against the rain. They flinch from the white fan of spray. And on the hills above So Quan Wat, the blown rain bathes the mortuary urns, washing the clay skins of old bones in grottos of cement and cinder block. In the burial jars, wilted incense sticks, drowned offerings, rivulets slip from the glaze. They join into flows carrying soot, oil, and dust out to sea. How am I doing on time?
You got about 12 minutes-ish.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I wouldn't kid you.
I love and hate L.A., and I'm glad I don't live there anymore, but it's a fantastic city. This is called In the Shimmer. In the city of bipolar angels, in a blue hour after sunset, a cobalt emptiness fills the sky, and 100,000 street lamps flicker on. Across the basin, their stars ignite. From the observatory's deck, all Los Angeles shimmers. The angels of our city are crisscrossed by their constellations, bound to grids of summer pavement. Their net is woven from threads of avenues, from the atomic points of streetlights, headlights, brake lights, yards lit up, all pulled out as wires on a molten cage. We are the astronomers observing a celestial network that below us shivers in the thickening air as the first fingers of cloud crawl in from the bay to grasp and smother the squares of our galaxy. Fog congeals on the Hollywood sign, and the seraph of gloom rules L.A. below. Cups his hands over his captive angels, chills them and slows their dance. The weight of his palm squeezes out the latent heat of L.A. We drive down Western, passing through the humming moments of the street lamps, reading the codes of graffiti that scroll by our car, secret incantations that lead us to the angel of blue on her mural altar. I think she's still there on Western. Our angel's eyes are closed. She wears a crown of braided symbols, and her face is lifted in a private ecstasy. She invokes a dream of silence on the cage to calm the mutterings of the lost and the damned who stand stranded in the street lamp shadows. We leave her going west on Beverly. The mist is settling now in tiny droplets, sprites of neon play. Red light, green light. We stop and then accelerate. Red light, green light. The angels tell us stop and go. By day, their spirits fly to manic heights. The air becomes a lens in their wings that magnifies the light of heaven. Falling into the spectrums of afternoon, buildings are electroplated by a temporary but angelic gold. You can see things in the brightness. Sometimes night seems safer. The air softens, and it opens like a trumpet flower. The scent of brugmansia, a heady sweetness, and the streets that are wide open to the day close in on us, become our tunnels through the infernos noir. This night the sky glows sickly yellow in the LA's understory light. Coyotes flicker down the alleyways, hunting for stray cats. As we pass a shadow gap, I feel them as they watch our car. They always trot away to deeper alleys, while the angels in their moods curl up in sprinkler fountains on the lawns. Everything blooms in Babylon. All summer long the temblors have been shaking us, telling us to leave, but this night seems effortless and still.
Yeah.
The Swan in the Hedge, with an epigraph from James Wright. Cling to the edge, here step lightly, touch my beak. She listened but would not speak, following the white swan through the hedge, from a poem called A Little Girl on Her Way to School by James Wright. Follow the swan through the break in the hedge, where the hedge is a wall between two next-door worlds, and the swan is the product of your desire, the result of when, as a child in your bed, you dreamed, under a full moon, that a magic swan flew down from the stars on one of your midnights, and she waited for you, head beneath her wing, on the pond's stillness, until the last planet of dawn fled through your window, and she awakens you now with the first flash of morning. When the first flash of morning crosses the world, she waddles onto the lawn. She is so improbably luminous against the green, and she is moving quickly away from you. You are blinded by her sun-blown brightness. She is approaching the gap in the hedge that you will not see until its shadows consume the light of her crossing. For the last few years, I've been translating classical Chinese poetry. It's not as hard as you think, but it's interesting. And there was a famous poem by Li Po, called Rising from Drunkenness on a Spring Day and Trying to Speak. When I started translating it, I realized there were multiple meanings for each of the characters. And if I selected one meaning for one character, then I had to select another meaning for another character. And it started making there were different ways of reading the poem, and it started driving me crazy because I couldn't quite figure out what did the poet actually mean.
So it seems like permutations.
Yeah. So I said, fuck it. I took every meaning for every character and strung them out. And I made what was a very short poem into an extremely long poem, but it has a great deal of music to it.
Oh, cool.
So this is disinterpreting Levi's rising from drunkenness on a spring day and trying to speak. And the actual title in Chinese is Springtime Joyful Day Sun, Drunk Rising to Speak, Aspiration Will. To live, to dwell in a place, a spot, on the age of the world's lifespan seems as if it were a vast, deep dream illusion. The what, why, how, that handles and governs acts, and the toils of such that we give birth, are born, grow, in the actuality of place, reality, according to, so as to end, finish the day in the sun, intoxicated, drunk. Whole balding, decadent, so correctly right, thus we lie, lolling, slouching, in front of the pillars, sleeping, awakening, thinking, feeling, to come, to appear here, longing, hoping, into a courtyard, returning. One single bird, a fancy flower blossom, between each space, in its song, its cry, its call. An excuse, a pretext to ask this and these, to carry us through time, seasons, and hours. The springtime, joyful, youthful winds, news, styles of flowing speech, the golden language of an oriole. To feel, to touch, affect, a part of him, her, it, with desire, longing, appetite, then to sigh, breathe, rest. Oppose, answer and reply correctly with liquor, once more again from oneself, collapse, pour out grand vast songs, to stay, to delay, to clear the bright understanding in this moon, this month, a crooked tune, used up, exhausted, it stops. Then afterwards, we forget, neglect, feeling, emotion, passion, our situation. Thank you very much. Thank you. Bill, thank you for Bill on the didgeridoo.
Make a small comment.
Yeah, go ahead. Comment away. Those were my glasses, where are they now?
No, these are my glasses. I get dropped them all the time. That's Wolf Losey, ladies and gentlemen. Another round of applause. He featured here before, and I was really glad to have him come back. It's really amazing. I like that last piece and a couple of others. Really stellar work. As you can tell, there's an intensity in there. There's a feeling for each word, how it relates to the others, especially in that last piece. He was purposely doing that, but in the other works, you can see that there's language being formed and curled around words and words within, and then there's parenthetical notes that just take phrases and put them together in a very interesting way. Published, honored, awarded, clear voice, clear thinking, wonderful heart, and give him another round. This is really good. I mean, I can't say more than he said, but I have to say something because I just, want to do that. And Bill over there on the didgeridoo, don't forget him. Give him a round over there. Thank you for passing the applause around. All right, we're going to take a quick break, like 5-7 minutes-ish like that. Talk. Did you bring books? I Yeah,
Published yet.
oh, okay. Well, then when you
I need to
are,
get off my ass.
okay. So this is the motivation. You come back. We do a book opening show with you. Okay. So we're gonna take a break. That thing will be off, so you can talk as if you aren't being heard, and then we'll come right back.